Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is episode 109, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave this
Off
week.
the beaten path for Halloween time.
We're gonna try this for a little bit, at least until Jay's like, I'm tired of watching.
Yeah, I'm done already, but I will give you one.
He's gonna let me do this one. We'll see if we can do some more. This week we broke our format a little bit, and instead of doing a documentary, I wanted to do my favorite movie of all time, Dawn of the Dead 1978 by George Romero. It is my favorite movie. The soundtrack is unbelievable, and I'm actually going to play it in the background while we talk about
good soundtrack for sure.
This unbelievable
it almost
movie.
Could be a documentary. If zombies did come, it would play out like this. It was so similar to the coronavirus response of panic and madness.
1978 too.
Yeah.
Not a lot's changed.
Not a lot's changed.
The argument
man.
for the fact that we are in a simulation keeps getting stronger and stronger for me, because we just keep repeating the same things over and over and over and over again. So I'm getting to the point where I'm like, maybe we are.
It might not be a bad call. Yeah.
So anyway, this week we picked Dawn of the Dead, and you're right. That is essentially Romero's version of how things would go on down if we did have some sort of zombie apocalypse.
It'd be chaos. It would be some people
insanity.
denying it, some people overplaying it.
Yeah.
It's
taking things into their own hands. National Guard get involved. People getting killed.
Yeah, some states would probably do like we did during coronavirus here. We were pretty much wide open, game on, and some states like California were like, still you are shut down.
Yeah, and it would definitely. Again, it's the same kind of response we had a couple of years ago with the whole pandemic, and it's not surprising. That was and is probably my favorite part of the whole movie, is that first 5 to 10, 15 minutes of the film.
I enjoyed that part.
It's just like complete chaos
in the new studio. Nobody knows. Things are coming down, bits and pieces of information.
Some people are doing what they're supposed to. Some people are like, screw this.
I'm
out of here.
You can't get it this way. You can't get it by this way. You can get it this way. Like, yeah, it was wild, man.
And let's talk about that incredible soundtrack from the band Goblin next when we return our edition. Yeah, the band is called Goblin.
What a name for a band.
Yeah,
dude.
They are a badass band, and we'll talk about them next as we discuss Dawn of the Dead, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 109, discussing Dawn of the Dead and my favorite film, because, of course, the holiday is upon us. Now, as we mentioned, the soundtrack was done by a band out of Italy named Goblin, and Goblin is a instrumental band for the most part, and they got brought into the mix by one of the guys who helped Romero do this film, Argento, who had done his own movie called Suspiria, which, if you've never seen, you should definitely watch it. It is an incredible horror movie, and it really is kind of in its own spot in the genre. But the guys that did the soundtrack for that film were Goblin, and it's an incredible soundtrack on its own. And then this one is the same thing.
It's very weird music.
But it sets the tone, though.
Yeah, it sets the tone 100%.
We're listening to it right now, and 100%. You feel this like unease.
Yeah, it's very odd and airy. It was definitely weird watching a movie that had words in it that you're not supposed to say.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah.
That was crazy. I was like, whoa.
And that's right out of the gate.
It hit me like a right cross. I was like, whoa, right out the gate. Yeah, they're dropping words you shouldn't be saying, man.
Again, it shows you what would be going down realistically. And the same stuff was happening in the late 70s as it is now.
Over anxious police officer, and then more chilled out police officer.
Yeah. And people handling their own the way they wanted to handle it based on what they wanted to do.
So, all right. So if zombies were coming, right? If that was that whole 5 minutes of the movie, the first part, if people were coming back for the dead, like kind of like coronavirus, but instead of getting sick, they were coming back from the dead or whatever. What's your play?
What's my play?
Yeah, if it starts going down, if we get the call today, like, hey, we're seeing it on TV, this is real, guys are coming back from the dead. You can only kill them by chopping their head off.
I always love
what's the play.
I love the guys like when they're taking the copter out of Philadelphia and they stop at the station to fill up and they meet Roger, and the other guy. Can't remember his name right now. David, I think. they run into another gang of guys that are running, and they're pretending to be police officers.
Yeah,
and for
yeah.
a second, they're about to shoot each other.
And they're going to the boat.
And they're like, hey, wait a minute. No. This would be stupid. You guys go your way. We'll go our way. It's fine. I love that Roger lies to the guy because he's like, you guys got any cigarettes? And he's like, no, we don't have any. And then immediately lights one after they leave. Like, you're not getting my smokes, dude. It's the end of the world, bro. I don't know when I'm going to get another
which
pack.
is probably going to happen.
But so I love the other dudes that are running because they go, we're going to try to make it to the island. And they're like, what island? And they're like, any island. And I'm like, that actually would probably be the best play if you could get to some sort of island somewhere.
It would be solid because these guys would have to cross water. You could see them coming.
Yeah.
They got my phone.
And it's possible that I can't remember.
So what's your play, though? What's your play? Okay, if
like
it's going
I said,
down
the
right
island
now,
idea would be good. I mean,
if it's going down right now,
you would honestly, I just grab bug out bag water and head into the mountains in Arkansas somewhere and hide out in some of the places I know that were close by water and that I could sustain for as long as I possibly could. I'd get out of the major cities as fast as I possibly could. I'd get away from people as fast as I possibly could.
Far away from people.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing you could do. And again, the point of this movie and the story is, they hole up in a mall for however long, months, and eventually someone's going to come grab it. So the point is, you can be Mr. Bug Out guy, Mr. Prepper, all this stuff. But if you don't have enough people and enough ammunition to guard
yourself,
it's not going to do you any good because eventually someone's going to come along with more guns, more ammo, more people, more craziness. And that's what happens in this story. And we'll get to the first time I watched this movie and the effect it had on me next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 109, discussing my favorite movie of all time, Dawn of the Dead. Now, before we go any further, I would like to give a shout out to Laura Jacobs, who does nights for us on a birthday years and years and years ago. She knows how much this movie means to me, and she was able to track down a handbill, which is like 12 by 11 by 14 or something like
flyer
that.
Is what
signed by almost the entire cast of the movie, including
cow.
George Romero. It is one of my most prized possessions of all time. Laura, I love you. Thank you so much. And I look at that thing every single day. It is, I love that thing. And I, again, have an original Italian pressing of this soundtrack on vinyl. Same thing with Suspiria because I love Goblin. But the first time I saw this movie, I was kind of into I guess I was kind of the same way I am now. I like the campy. I like the old school horror movies. I just, there's something about the suspension of disbelief for stuff that happened in the 70s and 80s. And you're like, oh, okay, it's not that. Like now, movies like
they have to be more intense nowadays.
Yeah,
right?
like Smile or
they can't be as slow. They can't be as slow.
Like, oh my God. Like that's how you leave. You know what I mean? And there's like something, I know it's weird as it sounds, like comforting to me about watching some of these campy horror movies, but I was probably maybe 13 years old, and I went to stay the night at my buddy Jim's house, who had this massive horror movie collection.
Classic
just
Jim.
Like all these things, and he was the one who got me into like junk. I mean, he was the dude who got me into some really weird stuff early on. I was like, how the hell do you know about this? But anyway, he put this movie on. Has you ever seen this? You ever seen Night of the Living Dead? I was like, oh yeah. Did you ever see Dawn of the Dead? I was like, no. We watched the thing on VHS that night, and it just grabbed me. And from that day forward, it's been one of my favorite movies of all time. I could watch it once a week easily. But it didn't scare me. It was just the feeling of uneasiness that it gives you is so perfect. Now, one could make the argument that it is slow, and I get
all
it.
Those movies from the 70s were slow.
Not all.
Jaws. You try to watch Jaws now. I tried to turn my kid on to Jaws. She couldn't even make it through the credits, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's too slow. It's too slow.
That's sad.
Something else too. We tried to watch maybe Back to the Future or something. It's just
too slow. Back to the Future.
Man, yeah.
God, what is wrong with kids
these shows days? These kids want TikTok, man. They want to just turn it on and see the head explode. And that's
so.
It.
You asked me what my play was.
Yeah.
What's your play if the zombie apocalypse?
If it was going down right now, I'd go grab my kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd head to my neighborhood and I'd probably round up a few of the neighbors that I know have ample supply of guns.
But what if they're like, we don't want to go with you?
They would, man.
Okay.
And then I would probably get a bunch of us, and I'd pick whoever's house seemed to be the best spot as far as angles. Now with the zombies, they have to bite you to get you, right? That's the only thing they have. The only attack that they have.
Yeah.
That's a pretty limited attack. Is just the mouth area.
Yeah.
It's a pretty limited attack area. So I don't know. I feel like you wouldn't even need guns. You could just probably have bludgeon force weapons, bats, machetes. I think. Because if they can only attack you with their mouth, that's super limited.
Again, like I said, the sad thing about this whole deal is that like what they talk about, like an atomic attack or something. Like you want to be the first out. Like you don't really want to survive this thing because it'd just be so hard to deal with it. And what kind of world would it be afterwards? Now, could be great.
Fallout. You've played Fallout.
Yeah,
that's what it'd be
same
like.
thing, man. I don't want to be
foraging for scraps of food.
Yeah.
Foraging for weapons,
atomic weapons, and stuff. And it'd be gnarly. It's fun to play it in a video game, but when you're playing Last of Us and you're like, oh my God, dude, this would suck.
It would not be fun.
Again, play Last of Us, and then you'll know what it's like
issue.
to be in a post-apocalyptic zombie world. We'll get to our reviews. Dawn of the Dead next on 104.7 The Cave. Mike, the intern, Jay Stevens, back in the studio one more time. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 109, discussing Dawn of the Dead, 1978. I still have not seen Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, the one in 2004, the remake.
I didn't. Oh, wait, I did.
I've heard that it's good.
God,
I've heard that it actually is pretty good. But it's just like one of those things. It's like they're redoing Roadhouse right now. Like, why would you? Why do you need to redo?
I know
Roadhouse?
why. Can I tell you the answer? I know the actual answer to why there's all these remakes.
Do they run out of ideas?
We're in a simulation. No. Once again, Jay Stevens dropping knowledge in the weirdest spots. No, the thing in Hollywood now, or in the entertainment industry, is nobody can afford to take a chance on original ideas. So they can rehash an old idea. They know people are that's going to sell. It's a proven commodity. They'll invest in that. They're not going to invest. That's why you don't see these wacky pictures anymore being made like they used to make.
It's just garbage.
That's what it is. It's just more
again,
corporate greed garbage is what it is.
I've never seen the remake, so I can't go either way on it. To me, there's only one Dawn of the Dead, and to me, the'll only be one Roadhouse.
Yeah, I mean,
God rest your soul, Patrick Swayze.
You could tell the same story over and over again, but it's pointless. You've seen the story.
I don't. How are they going to make Roadhouse better? How are they going to make Dawn of the Dead better?
I don't know.
Now, granted, it is, I will be the first to say I love the new Dune. I thought it was unbelievable, but I felt like the old one was campy, and they only took out
see,
it's one of those things where it was his version of it, but I felt like the new one was truer to the book. But that's different in the sense that was an actual book that they're making a movie on. It wasn't just a screenplay that they're going to rehash and redo like Dawn of the Dead or Roadhouse in our example. So it's just a different retelling of a story that's been around forever and ever. But ultimately, I'm going to give this movie 5 stars because that's that's one of my favorites. Jay,
I'll give it a 3.5.
All right, because we're friends.
No, just because I did enjoy the whole intro segment because I thought that was true today as it was then. It will play out like that. It's an old, slow horror movie.
Did you watch it with the woman or did you watch it by yourself?
No, I had to do this one solo mission. I didn't want to succumb anybody to this.
Oh man, I wanted to see what
I didn't want to succumb the kiddo to this or nothing. Nobody.
Obviously, my wife's just so sick of seeing this movie.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine.
But I am taking my oldest to a 3D showing on Saturday, so I'm very excited about that. I've seen it on film. I've seen it in Blu-ray, 4K, and now finally in 3D. So very cool stuff. We didn't get into the rights and stuff about this, but since the guy who owns the rights to this movie in the US is just holding on to it until he feels like he gets the money he's owed for it, you can't actually get a Blu-ray copy that's made in the United States. You have to buy one that's made in like the UK. The most recent one was done by Second Sight Films. If you really want a really good edition of this, in 4K, frame by frame, recut, and the best example of this film, get it from Second Sight because that's the one to go with.
This YouTube version was pretty good.
Or if you want for free on
YouTube,
and that was a fan edit, and the extended
pretty good.
They did a really good job.
It looks good.
So Jay, it's your turn.
So I'll play this game one time with you. This watch a regular movie thing while I'm still watching documentaries on the side. A movie that I haven't seen in years and years either. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Attack
I'll go
of the Killer
cheesy.
Tomatoes.
I'll go cheesy B horror movie with you as well.
Sounds great. As always, you can stream us on Facebook Live every Thursday at 9 on YouTube on our 104.7 The Cave app. I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you we watch movies so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream.
We watch a lot of stuff. You don't have
you
to
watch
now.
anything so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.